2026 is really going to be a big leap for all of us. It's either going to be a big leap forward or a big leap backwards. And it all depends on how you handled 2025. So 2025 was the year of number 9. Number 9 is very symbolic of our call in humanity to serve. It is the number of humanitarianism. It is the light workers number. 2025 was really asking all of us to take a stand fast and use your voice to speak your truth, to stand for justice. Number 9 is the step right before number 10. So you had many steps that led you to a state of karmic completion that you should feel right around this time now as we enter into 2026, which is symbolic of the year of 1, which is new beginning. So 2025 is all about discipline, right before the renewal that we're going to experience in 2026, if you answered the call. The numerology of 2026 is the number 1, which is symbolic of leadership, new beginnings, independence, sovereignty, pioneering, innovation, creation. This year will be ruled by the sun, the element of fire. So there will be an intensity and heat this year that we can not avoid. 2026 will be all about your intuitive action, your inspired action, and how willing you are to carry through with the things that you've set in place in terms of desire. In 2025, the pressure was so intense. What we used to cope no longer works, and we've been forced to actually sit with our pain, our anger, our emotions that are lower to actually heal versus cope with the things that we use to escape. So the question is, did you let go of what you were called to let go of? Did you let what didn't serve you actually leave? Or are you still corded to the karmic bonds that are dragging you down, keeping you stagnant, and keeping you out of alignment with what you truly desire and deserve? 2025 closed a lot of doors, but it also opened up a lot of other doors that are more in sync with what your heart truly desires, with what's best for you. What was once used as comfort for coping fell off. What doesn't support you any longer fell off. And you should trust that. So 2025 is all about paying dues, paying collective dues. And this doesn't mean punishment. So all of the pressure that you experienced in 2025 was actually pushing you to a state of more authenticity. Truth, cooperation, unity of diversity, and love with healthy boundaries. In 2025, your relationships were put to the test, and you were faced with your relationship saying, is this really love? When I stay in this relationship, is this really love for me? And is this really love for others? Cheaters were exposed. People that remain liars were exposed. Those that do harm to others were exposed. The manipulators were exposed. But here's the thing, as we stand here now and going into 2026, is that not everybody was able to discern that truth. So we really needed this intensity of manipulation and lower vibrations in order to see, in terms of the universe, who really is down for the higher good, who's willing to take a stand and protest and fast and say, I don't align with that. I'm not standing with that. I stand for cooperation, unity, and love. And those that opposed that have slowly begun to take themselves out. So I had a really powerful dream that I want to share with you guys about collective energy in 2026. So in my dream, there was this like massive ship in the middle of the ocean. It was so big. And on the ship, it held all of us in humanity. So there were many levels on the ship, in so many different rooms all around the ship. And we, the people, were scrambling through the hallways. We were running from door to door, from room to room, and we were bumping into each other. We were trying to get to the next door, and then there were like these men. They almost looked like armed guards, but they didn't have any armor or weapons. They were just had that kind of body language of a guard. And they were topless, and you could just see their muscles, and they were standing in between different doorways, in between different levels of the ship, not really speaking, but just there as a power symbol of authority. Now, some of the rooms on the ship were like gyms. They reminded me of like going to a workout room, or over here lifting weights, and then go to the other room and it's a sauna, and then you go over here and it's a Pilates class, and over here it's strength training and weightlifting. And so there were all of these different exercise rooms, you could say. So I'm going to break this down. What does this dream actually reveal about the energies of 2026? So the massive ship in the middle of the ocean is huge, huge symbolic energy. So spiritually, a ship represents collective destiny, shared timelines, and humanity in transit. The ocean represents the unconscious, the emotional body, karmic waters, and the unknown force. So the dream is really speaking to us that in humanity, we're already on board the timeline for 2026, and there is no opting out. There was no land around. We were just in the middle of the sea, floating away. And what's interesting is there weren't individual lifeboats. This is everyone on the same vessel moving through deep emotional and karmic waters together. So the ship as a gym and training facility, this is one of the clearest messages of the gym. So the gyms that I saw in all of the different rooms are not punishment. The gym rooms are intentional strengthening. So every room being a different exercise or school can tell us that in 2026, it's not about escaping lessons. It's about conditioning of the soul, emotionally, relationally, our nervous system, and spiritual stamina. So in 2025, you may have felt the pressure to really endure, and you really felt like your faith was tested. So we're going to see the heat on this in 2026. It is shaping us to have spiritual stamina. The sauna room really matters because the sauna was like the heat, the pressure, the sweating out of the toxins. So this was translating to 2026 will be another intense year of purification through intensity. We as a collective are learning to stay present in the discomfort without panicking or projecting onto others. So emotional maturity will become almost non-negotiable in 2026. So the part of the dream where everyone was running through the hallways together, this is where urgency comes in. People aren't casually strolling through. They were scrambling. We were moving quickly, trying to get to the right room here and there. We were just going so fast. So what this is suggesting is that in 2026, we're going to see accelerated timelines. We're also going to experience fewer breaks in between the lessons, and less avoidance will be available to us. So we're all running together. We're not alone. And we will see just this quick pressure, fast lessons, everything's accelerated. The year's going to go by so fast. And our collective lessons are also replacing isolated karmic loops. So you can think of like in 2026, it's going to be an intensity of relationship dynamics, family system changes, soulmates, karmic partners, and we're going to finally, I feel like, dissolve that twin flame illusion theory. Okay, so communities are learning to come together instead of one person doing the work alone while others resist. Now, the big men that I was seeing on the ship are really symbolic of angel guides. Okay, so they weren't soft and fluffy angels. They were like structures. They were the guardians of timing. They are the enforcers of lessons. They are our guides who don't rescue us, only redirect us. So the energy is really saying, you don't get pulled out of the lesson, you get guided through it. So big energy in 2026 is less bypassing and less spiritual exceptionalism and more embodied wisdom, or repeat the class. 2026 feels like a year that we stop romanticizing karmic suffering. This year, lessons are completed consciously or abandoned altogether through conscious release. So karmic soulmate in 2026 does not mean dramatic love that breaks you. It means two people facing the same lessons at the same time and choosing differently. So some will heal together, They'll learn to co-regulate together and mature together, while others realize that they just cannot. And they finally fall apart from outdated karmic bonds. And so both directions are a win for people. So the big take-home message of 2026 is that 2026 is collective soul training, where humanity learns emotional strength, relational maturity, and karmic completion together instead of alone. No one gets left behind, but no one gets carried either. It's your training year, not a collapse. It's intense, but it's purposeful. Something interesting that I see for 2026 is that a lot of us are healing so deeply, and our coping mechanisms that we once turned to help us kind of like avoid the pain, avoid the emotions, not have to put the work in and actually choose better. Plant medicine. I'm seeing the frequency of plant medicine completely change. What's happening is we have abused plant medicine on the planet, and so it almost turns against us. Now, in 2024, I was predicting that the animals turned against us, and we are seeing a shift in the animal production for meat play out through 2025. I think that there is still going to be an intensity in that direction, but I also see it happening with the plants too. So remember, abuse is overconsumption, and overindulgence is not harmony. So the plant medicine that we use to cope no longer is going to resonate with a lot of individuals, but sobriety will. I also see humanity turning to something really basic: rocks, stones, crystals. We're going to see an increase in the awareness of the power of earthing. We're going to see an increase in the power of awareness of healing diamonds, sapphires, rubies, emeralds, and also certain healing gold metals like gold. Geopolitically, we're going to see a complete and utter collapse. We're going to see an increase of anarchy in cities and political unrest. We will continue to see rapid injustices and exposure of the injustices being played out on the people. 2026 is the year that people begin to make sense that it is us in humanity on that ship, and we're better to stand together than to stand separate against the one world order, against the global political leaders that are transactional and creating wars by proxy. We begin to have enough awareness and intelligence that they are not really working for us, and it's better that we stand together. Now, I've had this prediction for a long time, but I believe in 2026 we are actually going to see this prophecy played out. I predict that humanity grows and evolves to a point where we're more reconnected with our soul, with our ability to love and to talk through issues versus enact war, harm, punishment, and separation. So what we will see is so much corruption within the war industry that Gen Z and millennials no longer resonate that it's an honor to join the military. We begin to awaken that this is an experiment, that our military men acts as of pawns to a corrupt machine and enacting war and genocide on innocent people. So we're seeing the head become the tail, a mass exodus out of the military because the soul can no longer handle it, and this is the introduction to robotic militia. We're going to see a continual attack of freedom of speech in 2026. We will continue to see those that are speaking up, sharing light, bringing truth forward, criminalized, and forced into indoctrination. There will be an increase of medical restraint on the planet to those that are awakening. Because the intensity is so high, I feel like a lot of the collective will not be able to withstand the shifts in intensity and pressure mentally. And because faith systems are dismantling, people realize once those systems are removed and proven false, they don't really have an inner guidance system of true faith to help get them through the pressure and intensity. We also don't have a lot of awareness in society that with spiritual awakening, there is a level of spiritual psychosis. So we will see a lot of people tip the scale in 2026, not able to withstand the full moon energy, the retrograde energy, the solar flares, the shock of realizing that the systems were never really for us. And that will happen. All of these systems will eventually, with more time, completely dismantle. We're going to see an increase of travel restrictions. In the United States, this will be in between individual states and then also outside of the country and coming in. I believe in 2026, we'll finally start to see more of the rollout of digital currency and digital IDs as a push to everybody in the collective, not just individuals, meaning you don't really necessarily have a choice. I think we're also going to see a lot of attempts towards world leaders that, unfortunately, in a very twisted way, brings peace to the people. Similarly to what we saw with the energies of awakening, where there were attempts on insurance companies and people were happy about it. So we will see more of this theme in 2026. 2026 will also be a year of more disclosure of otherworldly beings outside of our world. There will be a shift in the collective consciousness to those that believe it and those that don't believe it. And the ones that don't believe it will just put it under fake news or AI or propaganda. There will also be an increase of propaganda, making it really hard to discern if it's right or wrong to begin with. We're going to see an increase of voter manipulation and around the world. We're going to see an increase of those around the world becoming more conservative and increasing war through that mindset. One of my favorite parts about 2026 is that I believe we're going to start getting sweet tastes of the head becoming the tail. We're going to start seeing more and more justice slowly be paid out. But remember, it gets worse before it gets better, but it does get better in 2026. So hang tight. I know that it's uncomfortable, but here's some tips from JoJo Empathic to help you manage these waters in 2026 that will be intense. Number 1, stay sober. Number 2, prioritize your trauma healing. Number 3, find healthy mechanisms that don't keep you in escapism, but actually help you to process energy in a healthy way. Number 4, collaborate with others. It's really important in 2026 that you're surrounded by support that's aligned with your soul's mission. Number 5, cut the cords. Cut the cords. Don't bring what was toxic in 2025 into 2026, because this could really be your year to shine, show out, and receive the reward that you've earned. And you don't want that to be siphoned or harvested because you won't let go of what's not serving you. Tip number 6, stay connected to your intuition. Your intuition will guide you and never mislead you. Learn the language of spirit. This is the best time to study intuitive intelligence and get some control of your spiritual abilities. Number 7, redefine your spirituality and religion. It's important to rely on faith versus everything we see in the third dimensional that is an illusion. And that will be one of your biggest tools to help you navigate the waters of 2026. Eat healthy. Eat from the earth. Eat foods that are grounding. Make sure that you're taking care of your health. Be of service. Protest peacefully. Speak your truth and don't be afraid of your authenticity. And really allow 2026 to hold you into a place of empowerment. I'm JoJo Empathic. I'm a psychic medium, and I help you to dive into the patterns that are leading your physical manifestation. Join me on my channel. If you like this message, please like, subscribe, drop a comment. I want to hear from you. And I hope that everybody has a really great 2026. And thank you so much.